Hello viewers, welcome to my presentation. This presentation is about basic communication mechanism between software and hardware. Learning outcome you will achieve by end of my presentation is you will able to define basic communication architecture of software and hardware. You will able to apply different synchronization mechanism in the concurrent system. You will able to decide the proper design choice to optimize hardware. You will able to know type of interaction between software and hardware modules. Here comes the communication architecture of software and hardware. It comprises two main elements, a microprocessor and coprocessor. Microprocessor will receive all the software data from the software application data from the software driver and will send the data to the coprocessor through the on-chip bus. Coprocessor is a hardware module. It has a hardware specific functionality built on it. It comprises programming module which will perform the actual hardware operations built for the coprocessor. The programming module receives all the software data from the microprocessors and performs hardware operation and will send the data back to the microprocessor with the help of on-chip bus. Programming module is built on VHDL or Verilog. Here comes synchronization mechanism. Synchronization means the communication between the two parallel entities which are executing independently in different memory location. Here, an entity I mean is like a thread or process in hardware or software. Here the communication can be achieved by blocking the one entity for a period of time until other entity finish its operation. So this type of communication is like a talker and listener, where one person is talking, other person has to listen in order to have effective communication. If both the persons are talking at the same time, we cannot say that is effective communication. In a computing system, the synchronization will avoid inconsistent data to be consumed by the parallel entities in their operation. So which is very important for in the to have a proper data. Here comes the synchronization point. It's a concept of synchronization. In the book, they are saying that execution flow of one entity is tied to the control flow of another entity. It means like when entity they are through thread A and B. When thread A blocks the resource, thread B wait for the resources. The moment when thread A release the resources, thread B acquires the resources. That point of time we termed as the synchronization point. We can do it in in different dimension: time, data, and control. On time, we can say that two entities can be synchronized on the particular period of clock cycle. And on data, we can say that the two entities can be synchronized by exchanging data among themselves. Like one entity will wait until it receives all the data from other entities. On the control, we can say that by blocking the execution flow of one entity in order to have a proper synchronization with other entity. Here comes the semaphore. Semaphore is the concept of synchronization. It is a variable which controls the multiple access on the shared resources. The value of this variable denotes the current access on the shared resources. There are two types: the binary and counting. In this presentation, I will just give the example for the binary semaphore alone. Here the example of binary semaphore. Assume that there is a shared data which is the actual resource consumed by entity 1 and entity 2. And it has a semaphore. It will be access will be based on the semaphore variable. So in order to have access the shared resources, the entity 1 will access the semaphore value, which it has initial value to 1. When entity 1 accesses the value, it will decrement the value to 0. When its value is 0, no other entities can access the semaphore. When entity 2 tries to access, it will not be allowed to do access. It will be stalled for a while. And entity 1 processes the data and it will use the shared resource, and it will increment the semaphore value to 1. When it increment the semaphore value, entity 2 which was blocked will get the access on the semaphore variable, and it will use this and it will proceed further to access the shared data. So in this way the two entities will be synchronized properly. One of the important things we have to note down is in binary semaphore, value of semaphore variable will not be increased to it will not be greater than 1, and it will not be less than 0, because some other parallel entities will try to decrement the value to decrement the value for more than one times, but they will not be able to do that and if it's they will not able to do to make the value less than 0, and they cannot do increment the value to make the value greater than 1. Another way of achieving synchronization is by handshaking mechanism. Here, the synchronization is based on the state will be achieved by the state transition condition of the relevant entity. This can be achieved by one way and two way. In one way, execution flow of one entity will be based on the state transition of other entity. Here, the entity 2 will be stalled for a while until entity 1 makes a state transition from S0 to S1. When entity 1 makes a state transition, it will set the state transition condition QD is equal to 1, and based on this condition, entity 2 will make a state transition from S2 to S3. So in this way, the one entity will be completely based on the other entity in order to make a state transition. In the two way, both entities will be depend on each other to have a proper state transition. It means like a state transition condition of one entity will depend on state transition condition of another entity. It's like a mutual, so like a mutual condition validation. Here, like in the one entity 1 and entity 2, both the places the state transition happen. Here entity state will change to S0. On an entity 2, state will change to S2. And when it changes the state, it will set the state transition condition RD is equal to 1. When it does, entity 1 will make a state transition from S0 to S1, and it will set this here another state transition condition QD is equal to 1. And based on this transition condition, S2 will make a transition from S2 to S3. In this way, there is a mutual dependency among the two parallel entities. Another way of synchronization is blocking and non-blocking data transfer. In the blocking data transfer, execution flow of particular entities will be blocked until the data transfer will be successful. Here, for example, in the programming application, if the function sends a data, control will not go to the next line until its data transfer is finished properly. In the other side, the non-blocking data transfer, the execution flow will not be blocked, but the success of the data will be based on the status variable which we send along with the data transfer. It may or may not be successful. Data transfer may or may not be successful. Another concept is like the coupling. Coupling denotes how close the software and hardware interact with each other. There are two types. There are tight and loose. Tight coupling. In the tight coupling, software and hardware interacts very close to each other. On the loose coupling, there is a less frequent interaction between the software and hardware. In the tight coupling, we assume that here software and hardware will be synchronized for this single instruction. It means like for each single instruction, if it sends some data to the hardware, it immediately sends the result back to the software. On the other side, on loose coupling, software will send loads of data and it will send the data to the hardware. Hardware will wait until it receives all the data from the software, and it will be processed in the task or function, which will have more time to be processed, and then once it's processed, it will send the data back to the software, and software will wait until it receives all the data from the hardware. So here there is a two synchronization points in their interaction. So there is a less interaction between the software and hardware. But here, if you see, like for every instruction, it will send the data and immediately get the result. So there is a very close association between hardware and software in tight coupling. Another way here we are going to discuss what should be considered, what are the constraints we need to be bother when we design the hardware, because if any computing system we take, and it will be its performance will be based mostly on this hardware. So when we design the hardware, there is some constraint we need to analyze along with its interfaces which it accesses. So there are two constraints, like a communication and a computation constraint. In the communication constraint, assume that the system needs a larger data process. Assume that there is this configuration, and the hardware has a 5 clock cycle, and total bits is 322 bit, and for each clock cycle it needs 64 bits. In this case, there is a big constraint on the communication side. Since each clock cycle it needs 64 bits, so there is a big constraint on the communication channel. So in this type of constraint, we should not design the high-speed coprocessor to have effective utilization. So this type of in this communication constraint, we should make a coprocessor which can compatible with the communication interface which is on chip bus. On the computation constraint, the system doesn't need larger data bundle response. It means like suppose assume that there is a computation time of a 50 clock cycle and total bit is 32 or 320 bits, and each clock cycle needs 6.4 bit. In this case, there is no point of designing on the high-speed communication interface. Here the high-speed communication interface is 32 bit, which is more for this computation time. So in this case, we should optimize the communication interface, which can be complies with the computation time of the hardware. So overall, we can conclude that we have to design the hardware based on its computation time. If computation time is computation time is more, we have to optimize this communication interface, or we have to optimize coprocessor in order to have a proper utilization. So this is the concepts which I covered in my presentation. Hope you will enjoy, and thanks a lot for watching my presentation.